Welcome to the truly connected world. Here, everything is offered as a service. Here, data is free to flow, not to get stuck in a silo. Here, customers feel delighted, not defeated. And here, technology is the digital fabric that holds the connected world in place. Software AG is the software pioneer of this truly connected world, and we are here to help customers and partners integrate and connect everything to everything. Our global workforce of nearly 5,000 people in over 70 countries draws on our purpose to connect technology and people for a smarter tomorrow every single day. Our unique perspective has been the innovative, independent force to guide some of the world's best brands on their journey to becoming truly connected. With an unbeatable suite of products in hybrid integration and API management, IoT and analytics, and business transformation, we help our customers adapt to a truly connected way of working, where data and apps are shifting to the cloud, where decisions are being made by devices on the edge, where everything connects, regardless of platform or place, where everything, including analytics, is completely self-serve. We are committed to becoming the backbone for the world's data and to help improve lives in a smarter world. Our technology enables your app-ordered coffee that is waiting on the counter to go, wind turbines that keep the power supply for your communities constant, or lending a helping hand to get your employees back to work safely. We at Software AG help the world's best enterprises to transform with purpose. This is our promise to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2021 Day 5 Connect Conference, brought to you by Huawei and IoT and Engine Stream partner, Software AG. Enjoy the next session.
Good morning, colleagues, and welcome to another edition at the Connect Conference 2021. As part of the IoT stream, we're very fortunate to have some of the leading minds in the sector today with us. The next speaker is also one of those best speakers that we will come across. So we're very fortunate today to have Gareth Whitaker from Software AG with us today, speaking on a topic that I think a lot of us are still trying to grapple with. You know, the IoT market is a fairly, or IoT concept in general, I think is not a concept that is a really old one. A lot of people are still trying to come to terms with the value creation within the IoT product, the value stack of the IoT product set. So today, I'm really excited about our next topic, which is data-driven value with IoT. And IoT is often seen as a purely technical solution, something that might be cool to do, and often perceived by business as more the domain of IT and not relevant to their operational challenges. But this could not be further from the truth. The value in IoT is not only in how it works, but what value it can bring to the business, be it to save costs, prevent losses, add new offerings, keep up with customer expectations from providers, or to grow your market share, or even radically transform the business model. So it's really exciting that this session this morning will look at what value IoT can bring to your business and some of the examples of where businesses have utilized this successfully. And to speak to this topic this morning, it's a great pleasure to welcome Gareth Whitaker. He's the Director of Solutions and Innovation at Software AG, based in Johannesburg, South Africa. And he covers primarily things like IoT, analytics, integration, process optimization, and automation. It does sound like Gareth gets to sleep about 2 hours a night, but he's been with Software AG now for almost a decade. And prior to that, he's been with other similar enterprise solutions providers for a career of more than 24 years. He focuses on achieving customer and partner success, applying both business understanding of the needs and desired outcomes, and delivering technology and business solution to achieve successful customer outcomes. Gareth, welcome today. Allow me to just thank you for your time, and we're really privileged to have somebody of your caliber talk to us today and come on board and share some of the knowledge that we've just learned you have collected over approximately 24 years. So thank you very much, and we look forward to your presentation.
So thank you, Juanita. Thank you for that introduction, and hopefully it's one I can live up to in the following session. So I'm going to share my slides now, and then we will proceed through the presentation. So as mentioned, this presentation will be about the value of IoT, getting IoT done, and why IoT traditionally might falter with an organization. So it's very much about what is IoT. I've always said, ask 10 different people, what does IoT mean? You're going to get back 15 different answers. It's not something new. It's something that's been around for quite a while, but it's truly something that can offer a lot of value into the organizations. We'll look about how do we get the business to care about it and not let it fall back into that trap of being seen as a traditionally technical solution. So IoT at its core, the real benefit is that it's bringing additional data into the organization from different sources which you wouldn't have had previously. So those can be any things. It doesn't matter if that's a tractor, if it's a factory, if it's water meters or building management or painting robots in a factory. That's additional data about your business that is adding value by giving you insight into what is actually happening within the business and with your partners and customers. Now, sometimes obviously that data flow needs to come from certain sites that are not necessarily very accessible or might have connectivity challenges. So it needs to be processed quickly at site before being processed up to the organization. Sometimes then that data needs to be seen by people, by your customers, by your partners, or by yourself internally, where it needs to be analyzed and represented and automatically processed so that it can add that value into the organization. And obviously a key thing for it is to say, how do we link that data to the applications? So how do we bring in our ERPs or our CMs or homegrown systems that are actually running the core of our business and link that bidirectionally to that data? So it's not just about a one-way flow of saying, how do we get additional data and convert that into information about the business? But how do we then take action and combine that with things we already know to automatically process something? It might be something as simple as saying, you know what, when a customer leaves our organization and we process that through the ERP, it goes and automatically turns all of that off for their systems. Or through the flow and information here, it goes directly into our financial system to automatically generate the billing or those kind of things. It should be a seamless experience for the organization. Now, is IoT important to organizations in general? From a lot of the research out there, so from Gartner reports, we see that 63% of CEOs actually see this as having a significant material business impact on their businesses. So it is something that at a very high level in the business is seen as something that could have value. 42% of those organizations, or of organizations in general, have deployed at least one IoT use case. And 80% of the organizations that have implemented IoT have realized greater value than they expected to receive from that. So immediately that seems like something that would be of interest to the business. But why? So one of the things we look at then is why is it then not happening as much as it might be expected if it's bringing such value. Now, a lot of those things with organizations, we see from the reports from the Gartners, from the McKinseys, Beecham, etc. You see 73% of executives are launching IoT projects. It is something that's being dabbled with. And I say dabbled with because statistically, about only 19% of those projects are actually making it through to production. So if this is something that at a very high level, at C level, is perceived as having value, and a lot of people are dabbling with it, why are only such a small amount of those projects actually making it through to production and to use? I mean, a lot of the key market trends we see driving this need for businesses, for organizations, is the ever-changing, increasing customer expectations. This is what I call the age of instant gratification. Customers and partners are starting to get experiences from other organizations that they work with, digital native organizations. And they come to expect that as the standard. Whether it's your interaction with your bank or buying something or dealing with your various customers in your business chain, there's an expectation set. You can get that data, you can do that quickly. So why can't you? Why can't you do that for me as your customer? There's also a continuous emergence of new technologies. So a lot of new technologies that are coming and really changing the field. I mean, it might be, emerging technologies like machine learning, artificial intelligence, even IoT itself, edge, cloud, whatever it may be. It could be something we haven't even seen yet. But it's very much about saying, how do we keep up? How do we make sure that we're adapting the organization to be able to access that data that we will need for all of these technologies or solutions, so that we don't have to be doing that on the back foot. We can do that as and when those things come in. And also developing the core capabilities, as I just mentioned, with even the emergence of new technologies and the transition to the more instant gratification. How do we adapt the organization, not just the systems and the technology, but the people, to make sure that they're ready? As these changes come, we can roll with it. How do we have that flexibility? It's also very much from a business point of view of challenging that perception. A lot of the times, be it ourselves, as the OEMs, or even internally yourself within your organization, you might find that challenge of proposing IoT ideas and solutions which could possibly do something great for the business. And, you face a lot of uphill. IoT is seen as a purely technical one. It's a cool, funky thing you do with gizmos. It's cool and it's great to say we've got one. And I think a lot of that comes in with the dabbling in organizations, just so that you can say, oh, yes, we've done IoT. But what did IoT do for you? So it's very much about converting that perception from saying, yes, there's sensors and there's devices and there's data. But at the end of the day, it's all about this. It's all about what does it do for the business? Is it saving you money? Is it making you money? Is it opening up a new revenue stream or completely altering the way you do business, which we'll look at in some of the examples. The other perception is IoT has a lengthy time to value. It's something you've got to do for a long time before it'll actually start giving you a return. So this is another thing that puts businesses off, to say, well, do we really want to spend the next 5 years getting this thing going before we actually seeing any return to the business? And keyed into the similar kind of perception is you have to build the palace before you see any value. So you have to have the end result and everything all synced and working and all together before you're actually getting anything out. But obviously this is also a misnomer. With both of these, the thing is, with IoT, and we'll look at some customer examples, but just in general, it's something that you can iterate out, you can build on, and really be getting value continuously throughout and building up until you do have that palace. It's also about focusing on the end goal, not just the road. A lot of times you might see people doing IoT projects for the sake of doing IoT projects. Again, some of it is just that to say, yes, we're cool and relevant and we're doing all the funky new things, even though ironically, as I say, IoT is not a new thing. But it's very much about, why are we doing this? What is it going to actually do for our business? And throughout evaluating that to see, are we actually achieving that end goal? And most importantly, it's about the business case. It's not just how we're going to do this. You're going to have to prove you can do it. You're going to have to prove you can do it technically. And there's a lot of considerations we'll talk about that you need to address. But you're also going to say why. Like, why? In terms of rands and cents, what does this do for us? How does it save us money, make us money, prevent us losing money, or adapt into different spaces and grow market share? The other consideration, as I mentioned, through this whole thing is not pigeonholing yourself, not ending up in the niche versus flexibility. There's a lot of niche IoT solutions that do one thing, and they do it very well. And if what you need to do and all you ever need to do is that one thing, then that's perfect. You should do that. But you also need to consider the end goal. What are we doing? Are there going to be multiple things? Are there going to be additional things we bring in? More devices, data sources, customers, market areas. So make sure that you don't become that victim of your own success. Make sure that what you start with is not going to be what you stop with. It needs to be a starting point, not a stopping point. The other challenge of perception when bringing these kind of things to business is like, oh, but this looks very hard to maintain and needs to support. And especially if you've got this where you're looking at multiple niche solutions, each doing their own thing, doing it very well, but then there's so many things to maintain. There's such a burden. How do we support it? How do we maintain it? How do we make sure it's secure? How do we keep up with all the latest trends and threats? Who's going to do that for us? Oh, it's probably going to cost tons, and we're going to have to send our people on lots of training for many years, is the perception. But again, these things are very far from the truth. There are options. It's the field of dreams. You know, if you build it, they will come. It's like, well, will they? This comes back to the iteration as well. Do you want to build the palace and then find no one wants to come and visit your palace? Or do you want to start off and see, do we get the uptake? And again, not become the victim of our success. If it's selling like hotcakes, we want to sell more. We want to grow. We want to know we have that infinite scalability behind us and the supportability, the maintainability, so that we don't do something great and then a competitor comes along and does it better or faster or cheaper. The other perception is the approval by committee. Everybody needs to be on board. Everyone needs to do this. Otherwise, no one can do it. The great thing about solutions like IoT solutions is you can do them small, you can do them quick, you can start bringing value into the organization. And then it's not that if you build it, they will come. It's that when they see how much value it's bringing to you, then they come, and then you start getting it broader and spread. So it doesn't have to be the best for everyone. It needs to be is it actually delivering business value? And then we can grow it and scale it as the value is seen. It's also about the opportunity cost of not innovating. So it's not about necessarily what is the value of doing something, but what is the value of not doing something? What is the negative value or the threat that possibly comes from not doing this, not being prepared when it comes along? I mean, it's all the typical examples that are often cited, you know, the Kodak missing the digital camera, or Blockbuster Video discounting Netflix, and now there only being one left in the world. But it's very relevant to say, don't just look at what is this individual use case, but what if we don't do something? What if we stay as we are? What if our competitors do something? So it's all the business considerations you would consider for any solution, for anything. What is not just about what is the cost and what is the ROI. Those are incredibly important, especially the ROI and the business value. But also, what if we do nothing? You know, what does that look like? And as you said, why is it value to the business? It's not just about we can do all these different protocols or all these different types of devices or sensors or anything like that. That you have to prove, you have to show. But the most important thing for the business is, well, it's what it does for the organization by having access to that data, by having access to that data real time from all different sources, which previously you might not have, or you might have had, but very slow, very batch, not accessible, not able to be used by the business, but you need specialists to go and crunch the data and see, you know, can I get new insights? Are there new opportunities? It's very much about lowering the costs through efficiencies, through having the deeper insights, preventing risks and losses to the organization. Things like preventative maintenance or workforce optimization, being able to save the money before you spend it, so not even incur those costs. Make sure you're getting the most usage out of your assets by having actual information about them. It's also about engaging with the customers. So we talked about that instant gratification, offering better customer service, not just because you can do it faster or have the better understanding of them because you now have more interaction with them, but also about increasing customer retention because you're offering new things, you're offering products, you're offering things they expect, but you're also able to engage directly with them through new sources. And again, those data streams are not necessarily just devices, sensors. It could be data feeds, Twitter, Facebook, but combining all of that together as well with things like kiosks where they're rating service immediately in real time. And all of that comes together to give you that insight. And sales, not just about having the insight and the visibility for your cross-sell or upsell, but also how can you offer new business models, new channels within your organization? How can you monetize your assets as a service, staying competitive? One of the great use cases I'll mention is how one of our customers completely changed the way they operate, how they do business, into a completely different model, just because they now had that information directly accessible. And it made a lot of financial sense. The IoT projects, a lot of them fail because, as we mentioned, they run in isolation. So you can get some information from some devices or systems or sensors, but how does that actually tie back into what you do as a business? How does that actually link back into all your other systems that are running your business day to day? And also not being able to articulate the business value of the IoT POC for investment. So you can do that internally within the organization, but that is something that you want to show them the value of the technology and the investment, but you can't explain to them why. Why am I doing this? It's not just something that's good or funky or we think will be good, but how do we actually then put that together as a business case to say this will be something that will actually do that for us? The other thing is IoT brings value across verticals. So it's not just about one single thing. It's not, oh, that's not applicable to my business, or that's not applicable to my vertical that I work within, or my department. It's something that is used in all different cases. And again, the true value here is just we're getting data. These are lots of different things we do for our customers, but the value is the data. The value is the information. The value is the insights. It's not just that we can connect to all different device types, all different protocols, all different channels. It's saying, what does that mean? Whether we are actually now selling Steam as a service rather than machines, whether we are actually then able to give our customers a lot better experience or protect, the delivery of vaccines or medical supplies, insulin, all of these different things, the value comes from the how did we did it? Did we monitor it? Can we do it better? Can we do it faster? What did people think about it? All that information flowing through from any kind of point. That's what's valuable to the business, to actually say, it's great you can do all of these things from a technology point of view. You'll have to do that. You'll have to prove it. You'll have to make sure it's secure, bulletproof, infinitely scalable. But what does that actually do for me as a business? If you can't tell me that, then so what? It's very cool. It's very funky. Thank you. Goodbye. So it's very much about highlighting the value to your business. When you're talking internally to try and sell this to them, to say, what does it do for us? I mean, we know that at a broad level, it's about innovating faster. It's about getting those better business insights, getting more information from sources we didn't have information from before. It's about making things faster, cheaper, more efficient, reducing their cost, and making it more agile and flexible. I mean, some things we've done this with customers where we've seen it, offering innovative offerings to their customers. So being able to put devices in the vehicles to say, you know what, before we were a traditional insurance model, but now we can actually offer things like real-time flexible insurance pricing or better offers or combinations for individuals based on the way they drive, when they drive, how they drive, have a lot more insight into information that can provide us internally as a business better insights into what our customers are doing, so we can update our risk models and things like that, so that we actually incur less costs on the back end. And again, scalable across different options, starting off with individuals and then moving into fleet management or anything like that. It's not about the technology, it's about the what is that actually doing. It's lowering our costs internally, it's making our customers happy because they're getting a better deal, and it's actually giving us better cover. Now, being able to see insights into how your customers are actually using your products, be it anything from a vending machine to a painting robot to a scrap reclaiming plant. All of these things, having the insights into how is it being used, what are they doing with it, how often are they doing with it, how often does it break down, or is there an outage, what kind of productivity are we getting, that is valuable to the business. They don't care how you're doing that. You need to prove that to them from a technology point of view, but they care about that. Getting additional efficiencies where you don't have the separation of your devices, your sensors, your machines, and your back-end systems, which are running the business, which are running your day-to-day, the core of who you are as an enterprise. Having that all linked up together so that it flows seamlessly, that is something that brings great value to them. And even from a customer experience point of view, but also from a cost-saving point of view, being able to offer to customers things like, we can control any unnecessary waste. Are people leaving the lights on when no one's in the room? Is the aircon running in an empty building or with the windows open? Are we overusing the heating, the cooling, the lighting, the water usage? So we can save a lot of costs. But also from a customer experience point of view, we can see what people want, when they want to do it, how they want to do it, and then we can give our customers a much better experience with that. So I mentioned it's very much about transformation within the business. Some of the examples where we've seen this before and done this with customers, we have a customer who does compressors. So before, if you're talking about selling or renting compressors, it's a very flat model and a flat revenue growth. It's depending upon environmental factors and temporal factors like pricing, distributor influence to obtain, volumes or different models. But by able to fully instrument and get all that information in real time and tie it into your business model directly into internal systems, what they were able to do is actually transform completely and say, you know what, instead of renting you a machine or selling you a machine or anything like that, all you really care about as a business, the reason you're engaging with us, is to get air, to get compressed air. What if we just sold you air? Air as a service. We'll handle the rest. We'll monitor all that. We'll make sure you've got enough when you need it. We'll take care of all the maintenance and prediction. We know optimally immediately when we need to get parts and things like that, so you won't have outages. So we're not going to sell you a machine. We're not going to rent your machine. We're going to sell you air. That's what you really want. Same with things like painting machines, painting robots within factories. The challenge with that is when you paint a car in a factory, that is very expensive if there's a problem with it. You've got to send it back. You've got to redo that whole thing. It can be very costly, a lot of downtime, a lot of additional costs. So from a business point of view, they don't care necessarily at the business level that, oh, I'm now getting all these different data points and I'm doing it every 8 milliseconds. They care that my cars are being painted efficiently, optimally, and I can very quickly deal with those issues in real time, so I don't have to worry about the fact that now my production line stops for a bit, or I have to then send the whole thing back through that. I can deal with the problem before it occurs to save a lot of those, and any of the ones that even make it through that, I can deal with very quickly. So all I'm caring about here is efficiency and time saving. And same with things like expensive server operations for the customer. The customer is using your machines, they're using your things like that. You don't want the only time that a customer is contacting you to tell you there's a problem, the machine's not working, there's downtime, etc. You can remotely diagnose even repair some of those things if it's software, or pre-order parts and send someone so that it's almost you're servicing the machine and fixing it before it becomes a problem, or even if you get there as it stops, rather than a day, 2 days, 3 days later because an angry customer called you. It's very much about the what if. What if you could? That is the way positioning this with the business to excite them on IoT. Never mind that going into the minutia. What are the specific devices, the specific sensors? How do we actually connect it? What sort of channel do we use within that? But very much, what if you could do the following? What if we could do something for you that will make it faster, cheaper, quicker, get you that data that you need, so that you can focus on what you do best as a business, on the innovation. Also reassuring throughout that it's fully scalable, fully secure, and you can respond quickly. What if you could do a solution that, never mind just your own machines that you're making or your own buildings or things like that, but you can start offering that to anyone, bringing in any type of device from anyone, whether it's something that someone has built, whether you're building a greenfield, whether it already exists, or even a competitor's equipment can be part of your landscape and your offerings. You can quickly scale that up and you can offer multiple different things. And it also doesn't matter where or how or what are some of the factors. If we could offer that to you internally, you talking to your own business, what does that actually do for them? And also the ability so that you, for your own customers, can quickly prove to them. I mean, one of our customers, like Deutsche Telekom, they do this very well with their customers, is to say, how can they prove to their customers very quickly that there can be a return on value? They can spin something up, offer them a full IoT platform that can actually show them the value, prove the value in a very short period of time, and then be offering and creating value within the organization. And it's not just for themselves and their internal workings, but that's something you can offer to your end customers as well, no matter where it is, or what the connectivity restrictions or challenges are within that organization. The thing I always say, this is the Nike logo, just do it. The thing is starting. Again, that perception, doing away with that perception of we've got to do this all. We've got to have the whole thing before it actually offers us any value. You can start off small, you can start off quick. We've done with a lot of organizations. Start off just getting things connected. I always say, once you've got your devices and data sources connected, you're most of the way there. Once the data is flowing, doing the analyzing, the integration, the learning and innovating and iterating, that's the easy part. Just get going. Start your journey of 1,000 miles, do the step, spin it up very quickly, and get it going. It's very much about offering that fast time to value to the business. So being able to connect in the information sources very quickly. Because again, we don't want to be proposing something internally to our own organizations or to our customers or our partners saying, we can do this great thing, etc. And then it takes you 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever, to do it. You want to be able to even prove it very quickly to them. Say, look, we can connect the devices in minutes. We can do the analytics and dashboards. Once the data is flowing, it's literally just configure that up graphically, slice and dice it, feed it into your machine learning models, retrain them, use your streaming analytics, show them the value of that interactively, show them how easy it is then to integrate the other data sources, bringing that together, and then using all of that combined to offer them essentially applications within their IoT platform. So monitoring the business, a full building with all the temperature and the air quality and the open windows and the water usage, etc. That is to them their application, which is offering them very quick value. There's obviously one final perception challenge to overcome. We've talked about this a bit already, which is integration. A lot from research and that we see that integration is one of the biggest challenges for enterprise adoption. We saw earlier as well how a lot of the IoT projects fail because they're not connected into the back-end systems, to the processes of the business. So it's very much something to overcome those challenges, to make sure, how do you make sure you can get to it no matter what it is? You can connect into it, be it a device, a system, internal platforms, even homegrown or legacy systems. And how do you make sure that's reliable and secure? You're going to be dealing with all different sorts of data that are going to have to flow through this, and that gives the most value, combining those different data. And also, no matter where it is, whether you're running this in-house, whether you're running it in a private cloud, public cloud, it's all SaaS, you need to be able to reassure that this is all covered. And also the tools and standards. If there's a lack of integration know-how, the complexity of tools, how is that covered? How do we make sure that it is all dealt with and reassured so that they know it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter I've got some homegrown systems, I've got my ERPs, my CMs, I've got all different types of devices my partners and customers have. Some we make ourselves, some we buy commercially, some are competitive. But how does that all come together? So you want to reassure, and again, that is not that slow time to value. And achieve your goal no matter the industry or use case. We've talked about some of these. I'll touch on them very quickly. Gartner Denver converting from a selling or renting out compressors to going to that real-time monitoring, measuring, and just selling air as a service. Again, the initial thing to get that up and running, 6 weeks across 16 brands. So it can be done very quickly. Show them the value. Show them how, by doing this, you are lowering costs. You're doing better, faster decision making and saving a lot of money at the same time. And it doesn't matter how big or how small, even if it's these gigantic wind turbines, generating massive amounts of data. It's not that we can do ours, it's very cool and look, it looks very pretty, but what does that actually do? How are we optimizing the usage of that? How are we maximizing the revenue as a business that we're getting out of those machines so that we are generating the most for our things? And again, a lot of it is qualitative and quantitative. It's not just about the money, but it's also about things like improving the lives of your customers and your citizens. Things like reducing the pollution levels is immediate value for the organization. That's something we're offering to citizens, not necessarily customers, but citizens are still customers of a government. Very much, as I said, being able to do things very quickly, to offer things to your customers, not just for your own internal use, but if they themselves have a need, how can you very quickly offer that to them and show them how it does that very successfully? Again, even if it's something as small as a vending machine or a coffee machine. I mean, I think this is one of the most vital things in society, right? If we run out of coffee, society grinds to a halt. So how do we make sure in real time that by the time someone gets to that machine, there's always going to be pods there. There's always going to be stock. And not just because people are calling us very angrily and saying, we run out of coffee, but, predictively and preemptively, how are we giving that to our customers? And we talk very much about the being able to monitor and measure driver performance. Protect our customers, offer them incentives, make them feel like they are really being looked after. I'm not just being charged the same as someone else because they're a bad driver, but my fee is done based on me specifically. I am treated as one, a unit of one. So just in summary and wrapping up, obviously from my perspective, from our organization, our product Cumulosity is that Swiss Army knife that can start off small, across any vertical, and build solutions out very quickly. Doesn't matter what kind of device, what kind of protocols, what systems need to be integrated into, providing that to say, no matter whether it's cloud, on-premise, or edge, we can connect up anything, we can do all the different use cases, and show that very quickly. That's what it is built and designed for, to be flexible, to start off small or large, and to have that scalability so that you do not pigeonhole yourself into a corner. It says, got all the capabilities you expect, all the different protocols. By the way, all the documentation for Cumulosity is online, freely available. You can go and look at it right now. It will immediately reassure everything that I am spouting right now to say, these are the capabilities, this is what it can do. We can connect up anything, do any of these use cases, integrate your online solutions, and scale it. Start off very small, start off however you want, and grow it as big as your success. Very much also that you need to know it's fully capable of, it's very secure, it's fully scalable, very highly available. You can multi-tenant it, you can rebrand it, you can flexibly deploy it. So that's also what I see as key to offering that value very quickly. Just that we have, I feel, a great pedigree within the industry with all the different alliances, the different types of technologies, the partners, the channels, the connectivity, etc. And also, it's also nice to know that the analysts rate us very highly within the different things. This is actually one I put in here because it's just come out, the 2021 Industrial IoT Software Platform Wave, where, as you can see, we are very well positioned within the estimation of the analysts. And I always say the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Experience it for yourself. You can go right now and get a free test drive, spin it up within minutes, have your own full cloud-based where you can go and see if I've just been talking a load of crap or if this actually works. It does what it says it does, and it could maybe work for you. So you can go to the very lengthy URL, which will be provided in the presentation, or even just cumulosity.com and follow the links to the try for free, where you'll have your own tenant up and running, and you can try it out for 30 days, full, free of charge. So I'd like to thank you for your time. Hopefully there's been some value that you have found in this presentation. And if you have any questions or would like to have any more information or anything, please feel free to reach out to me. And hopefully we can do something together in the future. Good luck for all your IoT initiatives. Thanks.
Thank you, Gareth. What a phenomenal presentation. I must say that I've also learned a little bit more when you spoke in the beginning about asking 10 people and getting 15 different answers. I thought I would definitely be one of those very different answers because IoT is still very much one of those topics and conversations that I think in general we still have a lot to learn about. Not unfamiliar territory to the Digital Council. We have focused on a lot of these new technologies and trying to sort of run ahead and helping establish a more common and standard knowledge and around these technologies. Thank you very much for your time. And of course, I'd like to also thank Software AG for being one of our stream sponsors. It's a big privilege to have you guys on board and for all the support that we've received from Software AG in the past and hopefully in the future. So yeah, thanks to everybody else for joining us during the session. You will see now that there are an opportunity to post questions. These will be shared with Gareth and he will reach out to you to answer those questions. And you're also welcome to contact him. His email address will also be posted in the chat box now. Feel free to drop him an email and start a dialogue. And we encourage everybody to capitalize on the knowledge experts, subject matter experts that we bring to you and to engage with them and to further your own knowledge. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you in the next session. Have a great day. Stay safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we trust you enjoyed the session. Thank you to all our sponsors and partners for helping us bring this event to you. Please click on the next link to join the following session.